Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Regardless, not that that's.
So you can get one over. Y'all ready? You good? Good morning. It's 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Wharton County Commissioners Court to order. It is April the 13th, 2020. April the 13th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. This time, you please rise for the pledge of allegiance. We're going to do the pledge to the United States flag, the Texas flag, and then we're going to have a prayer led by Commissioner Vaughn. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Which resolved.
Please bow your head. Most gracious Heavenly Father, look down on us today as we conduct business for Wharton County. We ask you to bestow the ability to make good decisions on behalf of the county. Continue to watch over all employees, law enforcement, first responders, and our military. Keep them all safe from harm's way. And this time of uncertainty throughout the world, we ask for your healing power against the virus. We pray for all in the medical field, for those that are having to distance from their families, and for our president. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. A couple of things as we get started. The Keach Burn Drought Index is at 406. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we were getting near the burn ban and then we got some timely rain. It is dry out there. I do know, Andy, I heard there's a burn ban today because of the wind.
Yes, sir.
And so windy days, make sure you check in with KOP. But if other than today, if you got things to burn, I would suggest you burn them before it gets too dry. On the other hand, I kind of would suggest you not burn, because if it got out of hand, then the fire department's got to go out, and in this crisis, that's just a double-edged sword. The inmate count is at 91, and so we're managing that well at this particular time. But the sheriff would tell you the jail is open, so if you commit a crime, you're certainly going to end up there. Moving to anybody have anything up here? But anyone at this time, I'll do public comments again, but at this time, anyone like to address the court on a non-agenda item? And I will certainly give another opportunity. Let's make sure I do that again before we do the consent. Number one, provide an update and take all appropriate action for county offices to respond to COVID-19 related situations. We put this item here just so we can talk about anything that's new. We had a crisis within a crisis on Thursday. As you know, an employee at HEB in El Campo tested positive. And so there was a lot of phone calls Thursday night, and phone calls started Friday at 7 in the morning. And we've all met with all the city leaders and emergency management about 9:30 Friday morning. I'm gonna tell you, this is a seven day a week job. You guys aren't doing it. Yesterday we had 3 or 4 phone calls on Easter, so it's tough. But what I want to tell you is that the city of El Campo Memorial Hospital set up 3 days of testing, of drive-up testing, because of the HEB incident. There was thoughts that there might be some concern there, and so they were open Friday from 2 to 7. Saturday they were open from was it 8 or 10, Andy?
8 to 5.
8 to 5. They were going to open up till 7.
Right.
But there wasn't enough business, for a better word. And those 2 days, they had 2 locations. The first day, they had the El Campo Middle School, where you could drive through that long winding driveway in case there was a lot of cars, and also the Civic Center. And then Saturday and Sunday, Easter Sunday, they just did the Civic Center. And I don't know how long they did on Sunday. I want to say it was 10 to 3 or.
I don't know. I didn't check back. They had 21 visits on Friday, and at about 3 o'clock, they had 15 on Saturday.
I have the total.
Okay.
In the 3-day period, 87 were screened. 87 were screened. So that's how many people showed up. And remember, we tried to put out there, you had to have the symptoms. The state isn't allowing the use of the test kits unless you're showing symptoms. There's just not that many test kits. So you have to be in a certain age group, or you have to have a fever of 100.4, I believe. Or there's symptoms that you have to be. If you're interested and you think you may have them, there's a self-checker that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, has a self-checker, and we published that in many places that you can kind of work your way through it, and then call your physician if you think you may need to proceed further. But bottom line, 87 people were screened and 40 were tested. 87 were screened and 40 were tested. And so that's they've closed that down now. That was just for that time being. And then moving forward, if you believe that you need to be tested, like you meet the criteria, of course, contact your medical health provider, and then they'll set it up with the clinic or the hospital or however it falls. But again, they're only testing people who meet the symptoms. We have 29 confirmed cases as of yesterday. We picked up number 29, which was a male in his mid-30s. It is so hard reporting this because the state is not giving us timely information, and I assume the state is just backlogged. What's happening is a lot of the tests that are done in Texas are done by private clinics, not public. And so the private clinic is supposed to, one, notify the person that they've tested that they're positive so that person can quarantine. But then they're supposed to turn around and contact the DISH, the state health service, and let them know. And then they turn around and contact us, the Dr. Googles and such. And that's not happening. It's not happening for days. Yesterday, I got a phone call that they heard someone in the county has died from COVID-19. I haven't heard that yet. No one's told us that yet. I get calls every day that the news station in Houston is showing 5 deaths in Warren County. I've never heard that. And so, I don't know where the disconnect is and all of that. I will say that out of the 29, there's so many HIPAA rules. Everybody is scared, rightfully so, and they want to know where that person was last and who they talked to and where they at now. We don't know those things. We're not told those things. I will say of the 29 confirmed, 7 have been deemed recovered. 7 of the 29 are recovered. That leaves us with 22 active as of today. That could change. And I'll go on and further say, by studying the public service announcements, by going back and looking, when one says this one's out of town and this one's related to this, I can tell you just by studying those things, we've got little groupings, or I call them cubbies. Like of our 22 active, 6 are related. They're in a grouping. And I know from this looking at the public service announcements, two of the cubby brought it back from working out of the county. They brought it back to their little cubby of 6, if that's a good word. We have another cubby of 5, that may be within the same house or living next door, but there's another grouping of 5. And we believe that 2 of them may have brought it from out of county. And then there's a cubby of 4, and that was related to one person way back when taking the trip out of the state and coming back, and now there's a group of 4. And then there are 3 or 4 couples, whether they're husband and wife or they live in the same house. Why do I tell you that? Because to me, it's better to know that there's not 29 totally independent, unrelated, running around unknowns out there, okay? At least I can tell you there's a 6 and a 5 and a 4 and 3, at least 3 pairs. So when I do my math, that's 15, that's 21, that's 21 of the 29 are in like 4 or 5 little couples. Does that make sense? And so that's more reassuring. That's still not good, But what does that tell you? It transmits, and social distancing is everything. It also tells you that if someone has it, there's a good chance everybody back in the house is going to get it. If husband has it, wife is probably. So, you know, so when I always tell people, I think there's more out there, I do. They're just not showing the symptoms, or they haven't been tested yet. So be very concerned, but on the other hand, don't totally panic when we gain one or two, because there's still some households where an individual is tested positive, and there's still 3 or 4 people back home that haven't tested yet. And so that's about the most I can tell you. But I can get that just by looking at the public service announcement. County offices, we're still open, and everything is good. And appreciate everybody, you know, do what you can. Practice social distancing. Do every bit you can there. We're here today. The main reason we're here today is we got some plaques to sign in the house to get around that. But as long as we stay apart, when we sign, one person at a time, and when you finish, wash your hands, and you know what I mean by that. Commissioners, do you have anything you want to add on this topic? Yes, sir.
On that note, what you're just been talking about, county is considered an essential business. We've all got to do, John, we got to do, but I still think that we need to take some proactive steps, you know, to keep from having the whole county shut down. For instance, I'm not going to say any names, but I had a call this morning from an employee who has a fever. I advised that employee to stay at home, but I think that we should take some proactive steps into separating all of our employees into 2 shifts. And work on half a week, and the other half a week, and the other one's home. Yes, we will have to pay it, but we do have that money budgeted. And if it's just for 2 weeks, I think it would be a great, you know, proactive step to keep from having this whole building here shut down, or our precincts, or all of our precincts shut down. I think that we need to think about taking some steps to keep from having that happen.
Any other? Okay, anything else on this topic? Okay, agenda item 2 is we're going to take all appropriate action to hire a temporary deputy emergency management coordinator with starting date effective March the 16th, 2020, contingent on background check. Commissioners, our emergency management coordinator, Andy Kirkland, is running in circles. Andy is trying to keep up with the COVID-19 activities. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of reporting. Our deputy emergency management coordinator is Debbie Cinco. She's the deputy. She's been it for many years. She's an incredible volunteer deputy. She's helped us get through hurricanes and floods. Today, we're faced with a very unique disaster situation. I'm requesting the board approve hiring Debbie as a paid temporary employee in the role of the deputy emergency management coordinator effective March the 16th, 2020. That's the day I signed the initial disaster declaration. If we're lucky, FEMA will reimburse us up to 75% of Debbie's pay. When it's all said and done, we'll get that money back. But if not, she'll be well worth every penny that we paid her. Her position and salary will fall under Andy Kirkland's annual operating budget as temporary help. I believe that's the 406 line item. If you agree, she'll be paid as a 14A, which is $18.06 an hour. The county will take out federal income tax and FICA. The county will not pay Debbie retirement or provide her insurance. In other words, no benefits would be accrued. Debbie's hiring would be contingent on her passing a background check. She's not required to take a physical. Debbie's been logging her hours since March the 16th and regularly turning them in to the auditor's office. Like other temporary hires, Debbie can work up to 29 hours a week for 9 months. The length of the temporary position will last until we get out of the COVID-19 situation or at the end of the budget year, whichever comes first. Again, the effective start date originates back on March the 16th when the disaster declaration was signed. needed funds would come from either Andy's budget if possible, or we can transfer some of the money out of the county court line item for jury pay, as we're not having trials at this time. As I stated, we can possibly get reimbursed a good portion of that salary from FEMA. Do you have any questions?
I just was gonna see if you can just, the 14A is outside of our personnel policy for temporary employees. Can you just kind of make that known that we're not going to follow the policy piece on that? We are going with an exception and we're going 14A.
Okay. And so it would be an exception, and this is a special, she has special training and such. I mean, it's more than a skilled position. She has something that you can't go out and advertise and pick up today, what she offers us. And so it's different than a normal situation. Again, it's a temporary thing. Are there any other questions?
Is it legal to try to go back, pick up backwards instead of perspective?
My understanding, she's been keeping her hours. There was a understanding, we only meet intermittently. We don't meet every week. There was an understanding that she keeps her hours and the court would consider ratification of her hours starting from March 16th.
Correct, and she has turned them into the auditor. Right?
Yeah, so, I mean, this is more of a ratification of an understanding that they had with the coordinators. And that's kind of good.
Thank you.
Good question. So do I need to restate that then to say, to ratify the hiring of a temporary deputy emergency management coordinator, starting date effective March 16, 2020, contingent on passing a background check? Are there any motions or questions? Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Graves. Song made the motion, Graves seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Agenda item number 3. This is like the greatest news of the year. This doesn't get any better, and we need this. And so thank you everyone who took part in this. Number 3, take all appropriate action to accept and award construction bids for Wharton County Historical Museum. Commissioners, you may recall that this board has previously budgeted $300,000 for repairs to the museum. Initial estimates had the cost of repairs exceeding $400,000, depending on what specifics the museum board might have wanted to upgrade or adjust. The museum board has previously agreed to pay any and all costs exceeding the county's budgeted $300,000. Last fall, the county contracted with Cutright and Coda to provide the architectural services and carry out total turnkey supervision of the entire museum repair. Cutright's fee comes from the county's budgeted $300,000. Anything in addition that the museum board wanted added, then they would pay the additional fees for Cutright. It was initially thought to be approximately $50,000, and approximately of our $300,000 participation would be the Cutright proposed fee. Cutright representatives have been working diligently with Charles Davis, Buck Thatcher, and a number of people on the museum board to make sure all the work meets their expectations. The county will not be utilizing any FEMA funds for the project, as the building site is below the designated floodplain, and there was way too many expensive prerequisites to follow. And the most FEMA was going to give us was like $80,000 to $100,000 to start, which was significant, but the building would have to possibly be raised, and there was just, it wasn't possible. On February the 24th, at our regularly scheduled court meeting, the board approved going out for bids to repair the museum. We advertised on February the 26th and March the 4th. There was a mandatory March 18th pre-bid meeting with contractors at the museum. I believe there was 5 who showed up for that, and man, you ran that. That was awesome. I was impressed while I was there. It was well organized. On March the 26th, bids were opened at 4 p.m. in the county judge's office. Then on the week of March 30th, the bids were scored. On April the 7th, My office received the scores and tabulation sheets so that they can be presented today, April 13th, to Commissioners Court. The timeline again, in February and March, there was a lot of close work done between Cutright and the board members, preparing the construction and bid documents. Once that work was completed, the project will comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, and the Texas Accessibility Standards, TAS, and it shall be inspected by certified Texas accessibility specialists. 5 contractors showed interest in submitting a competitive sealed proposal. 4 attended the mandatory pre-proposal meeting on March the 18th, and 3 submitted bona fide bids. The proposal prices range from $281,600 to $307,000. I'll say it again, it was close. It was $281,600 to $307,000. On the week of March the 30th, the proposals were scored using the following criteria with points associated with each of these categories: price, project experience of similar scope projects, project management, references, financial stability, and contract time. The 3 bids that were submitted, BLS Construction submitted a bid of $281,600, $281,600, and would be complete in 85 days. Lavica Construction was $299,600, $299,600, with 180 days, 180. Palacia Construction was $307,000, $307,000, and the completion was 135 days. The scoring results are attached with BLS Construction having the highest score, again at a price of $281,600 and a contract time of 85 days. The court has approved approximately $255,000 for this project, $255,000, with the remaining cost being incurred by the Museum Association, the Museum Board. No federal funds will be used. The architect fee is approximately $45,000 of our 300, and that was what leads the 255 to go toward the construction bid. So let me clean that up. The county put in 300,000, approximately 45 is going to Cutright and for HODA, and the balance of 255 will go to the project. If the low bid is 281, we're short somewhere between $27,000 and $30,000. That's what the museum board will take up, plus anything else that they may add on. So first of all, gentlemen, we need to decide if we want to accept the 3 bids that I mentioned. Again, BLS Construction, Lavica Construction, and Palacia Construction, and I read them out into the minutes. Is there a motion to accept the bids? So Commissioner Graves, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Zahn seconds. Graves and Zahn to accept the bids. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Now we need to decide if we want to award the bid, and the bid that scored the best and is the lowest bid is BLS Construction for $281,600. The county will pay approximately $255 toward that, and remember the balance goes toward the Cutright and propose the architectural services. Before we bid on that, Brad, would you like to say anything?
I don't know what's taking me so long to get to Wharton County, that back down from LaGrange, and I have worked with 2-year commissioners before on very successful projects. And working on this project with the court and with the museum board, it's been quite rewarding. And the prices had been pretty high. I think when FEMA had done some estimates like 900,000, something outrageous. So I commend the court and the museum board for taking good decisions, forego the FEMA money, and just get the job done right. So thank you so much for letting us help.
In Cutright, is your last name correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Brad Cutright.
May I say something?
You definitely there we got Brad Cutright. This is Buck Batcher from the museum board.
We know this has been a long, drawn out project. Martin's worked on it quite a lot of hours. We went through FEMA, and that was an education for all of us. I don't think any of us would do that again. But anyway, I want it's been a long drawn out project, but from where we started to where we ended up, I think it was well worth the wait. I also want to give you the report for hiring Mr. Cutler. He did a fantastic job.
He earned his money, I'll tell you that.
Definitely.
Is there a motion to award the bid to BLS Construction for $281,600? So Commissioner Graves, seconded by Commissioner Zahn. Graves and Zahn, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. William Key is here. William, you want to throw anything in, or you just ready to run?
We're ready.
It's 85 days, is that right?
Calendar days, yes.
Yeah.
It's calendar days.
Bless you, man. That's awesome. I know there's a
Been
lot
with
of
his
people out
family
there.
too
Yeah.
Good, I'll say one more thing.
You can say anything you
I
want,
think
Bob.
we'd all be remiss if we didn't mention Charles Davis. He
You
was the
bet.
one that really cared involved, made all this happen.
Charles is tough. He's a businessman.
You really stayed at the museum where it would be for Brad to come in and get everything done. That's why the bid was so much less the second time than it was the first time.
I saw y'all move things out over the weekend too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's on top of it, a lot more than the rest of us. Charles was the main one that.
I'll give him a call. You know, earlier when we talked, like late last year, when we all talked, and I was like, can we finish it by the end of this year? And you're like, well, I think so. And so I was telling people it's gonna be finished by the end of 2020. And I was like, I may not be telling the truth. Telling the truth.
Yes, you are.
So awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is the greatest news in a time we need great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Okay. You guys can run if you want. I'd run if I were you. Stay apart. Item, I believe, because I cut it off as item 4, take all appropriate action to accept and award bids for Wharton County Medical Examiner autopsy transportation. I'll be honest, did we get bids for this? I didn't look. Okay, good. Okay, commissioners, back on March the 23rd, this court agreed to go out for formal transportation service bids to transport bodies to both Fort Bend and Travis County. We have been in May continue to utilize the medical examiner's office in Austin, Texas, Travis County. As you recall, we previously approved the contract with Fort Bend County Medical Examiner's Office to start sending some of our autopsy cases to them. We advertised on March the 25th and again on April the 1st, March the 25th and April the 1st. The bids were opened in the auditor's office on April the 9th at 3:30 p.m. Bids will be presented today on April the 13th during this regularly scheduled court meeting. And so I'm gonna look through them because I quite honestly, I did not see these yet. Barbara, how many were there?
2,
2.
yes, sir.
That's a contract with the examiner. Oh, here they are. One is from Wharton Funeral Home, located in Wharton, Texas. And there is a whole slew of bids here. And then the other one is Triska Funeral Home, which is out of El Campo, Texas. And again, there is a whole slew of, there are bids to transport to Austin, and then there are bids to transport to Rosenberg. I guess I'll go ahead and read these. Funeral Home here in Wharton, Texas, to transport to Austin, a heavy duty body bag. No, first call is $225, and if a heavy duty body bag is used, I guess that's another $125. And then if it goes to the medical examiner, it's $275.
Right.
And
Taking
then
it to Austin, yes, sir.
and then then if it's from the medic bringing it back, it's $275. And then the second person required for is, what does that mean?
There's a piece left off of it. It meant for if they needed a second person required because the body was over 300 pounds, then they charge us extra. So that'll be another $150 basically on that line.
What is the first call?
How is that, Jared? Because that's
Jared Caller for the record.
that's how it's presented on the invoices, so that's why we put it as that wording.
First call is the call out for them to come to the scene to pick up the body. It was in our previous contracts. with all of the funeral homes. And I've I know you're reading them out individually, Judge, and y'all can check my map, but I've kind of told them up
Okay,
for you. On Wharton Funeral Home, that the first call and transport to Austin, to the Austin Travis County Medical Examiner's Office, the total for Wharton Funeral Home is $900 plus or minus, because we don't know if they're over 300 or under 300 pounds. It fluctuates there. And then their first call to Fort Bend County is $450. And of course, that's plus or minus with the weights. And then Triska's first call to Travis County is $1150, plus or minus with over or under 300 pounds. And then their first call to Fort Bend County is $1,050.
what are we currently paying, Jared?
Depending on weight, and we have not went to Fort Bend, but it was averaging under 1,000 to go to Travis County previously. It just depending on what the weight was. And if you'll notice on Wharton Funeral Home's bid versus Triska's, sometimes the family is paying the trip back if they want to come back and they do not utilize a crematory or something. So it varies. If they decide to use Heart of Texas Crematory in Travis County, we don't pay the trip back. If they're under 300 pounds, we don't have to pay the extra. So it's different each time. There is no quote standard price, because you may not pay the trip back because they may choose to use Heart of Texas Crematory in Austin. So you don't have to send them back to get them. And they may not be over 300 pounds, so you don't have to use the second person. If we use a heavy duty body bag, it costs twice as much as the normal body bag. So there's so many variables, I can't give you an exact price, Judge, but it's under 1,000.
Have we been paying 1,000 there and 1,000 back before?
No, sir, the combined to Travis County is under 1,000.
Right.
Still today in these bids,
Previous to
but
today.
now it's getting ready to change.
Now we'll have
Yes.
set prices and we'll know who to call.
So now roughly using your figures, a round trip, I'm trying to look here. What's a round trip for the Wharton Funeral Home to Austin?
Using these figures, 900.
Oh, that's a round trip.
Right.
Oh, I thought that was one. Okay,
Round trip.
let's get ready. Okay, good.
And round trip to Fort Bend is $450 for Wharton Funeral Home. Round trip for Triska to Travis County is $1150, and round trip to Fort Bend for Triska is $1050.
So to be clear, Wharton Funeral Home, I know it's closer, but the round trip is $450, and for Triska, it's $1050.
That is correct, and understand that that's plus or minus depending on heavy duty body bag and the need for a second person if the individual is over 300 pounds.
Now, when we first discussed all this, and you're the man, you've got this going, thank you. But we took a trip, the county attorney, you, and myself, and a couple other justices of the peace. You mentioned to me one time it may be good to have two vendors, one on each side, depending on if the body was over there, or is that not a factor anymore?
Potentially, but looking at these numbers, I'm not gonna tell the court what to do, but looking at the numbers, it's clear to me what needs to be done. I don't see how, we've got two bids, one on each side of the river. I don't see how you could award both of these prices being such extremes to both of those.
Clearly, you're recommending Wharton Funeral Home. You can do that, it's legal.
I'm telling you, these prices are very extreme
I got you.
and extreme differences. So
Tell us about the refrigeration. You and I know this, but everybody else in this court doesn't understand what happened.
the only one that put refrigeration on here is Wharton Funeral Home. And so if we have a decedent who is unknown or the body is unclaimed by the family, which it has happened, we are responsible for that decedent at that point to do a pauper's grave. But the time that it takes us to ensure that the decedent's family has been notified and try to locate them, maybe if they're out of state, try to get them notified, could take time. So we have to pay for storage of the decedent in in cold storage. The Fort Bend Medical Examiner's Office, I believe, Judge, was $50 a day. We don't pick them up within a reasonable amount of time. They did not define what reasonable is. Reasonable in the past has been a week with Travis County. Travis County has not charged us, but they have blown up phones and threatened to in the past. In our current bid here that we went out for, we asked for refrigeration. And I know that Water to Home put in here $100 a day. So of course, in this instance, we would tell them to go pick them up. I'm not saying that.
Might be easier to leave them in Fort Bend.
Better to leave them in Fort Bend, yes. And I utilize that $100 a day. Yes, they did bid $100 a day for refrigeration storage.
Without going into details, we did have a body that everybody knew who it was, and they weren't going to take it. And so that happens, sadly. Okay, first of all, gentlemen, thank you, sir. First of all, we need a motion to accept the bids. Commissioner Graves, is there a second? Commissioner Zahn. Graves and Zahn to accept the two bids. Ward Funeral Home, Tristic Funeral Home, as presented in the packet. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Now we need, if the court's so inclined, to award the bid.
Motion to award, Ward Funeral Home.
Which one? Ward Funeral Home. Okay. There's a motion by Commissioner Graves to award the bid to Ward Funeral Home at the prices that are listed here in your packets. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Zahn. Graves and Zahn. Trey, do I need to read all these things out, or it's in the packet?
No, it says presented.
As presented. Okay.
Is there an effective date?
There's not, we're gonna have to negotiate a contract. One of the things I want to confirm with what funeral homes are ready, willing, and able to pick up in the entire geographic Wharton County, not just on the side of the river.
So then you'll bring us back in a later date, the contract. Who you pointed to? Yes, sir.
I do believe in the bid it said may or may not award on both sides of the river. I believe that's a word, but I'm not positive.
So that's why we'll need to confirm that.
So there's a motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Zahn to award the bid to Wharton Funeral Home in Wharton, Texas, Brad Maha. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Jared. Moving to agenda item number 5, take all appropriate action regarding Wharton County's allocation of TxDOT TIP grant. Commissioners, back in April of 2014, the Texas Department of Transportation awarded Wharton County $1,028,251 from the Transportation Infrastructure Fund grant. Our county's 10% match back then was $114,251. So we got just over $1 million. We had to match it with $114,000. We used a bridge at that time that Commissioner, it was in precinct 1 and 2. That was our match. Last week, my office was notified that our county is eligible or being awarded $430,027, 430,027, provided we pay a 10% match. Today, the court needs to decide how we want to spend the money so that we can move forward in the requisite application process. Some history, this program is a reimbursement grant from the state. So the county will be reimbursed for the grant amount after spending our own funds for the improvements. Our county has to provide a 10% match, which is approximately $43,003. The work does not have to be directly related to new oil wells or the like. TxDOT wants us to build some roads, was the quote that Bruce Spitzendahl gave me from GrantWorks. We do not have to create a county energy transportation reinvestment zone, a CTERS, this time around. Remember, we had to do that last time. This court did formally agree previously to contract with GrantWorks on this project for a turnkey service on obtaining the necessary funds. identifying the projects and going out for bids. Today, we'll need to decide if we need to go out for engineering bids. But the main thing is we need to identify the projects. And then if we need an engineer, we can do that. So today we need to decide how you want to proceed. If you want to divide it up 4 ways or how. I have a crazy idea. Of course, you know, I have all kinds of crazy ideas. To me, it would make a bigger splash and make a bigger impression on the public if we could do it in one spot where everybody could see that we accomplished something. If you each go off and do a mile here and a mile there, no one's going to really notice that. But I do recognize that you all have many miles of road that needs to be repaired. My thought is, and you can shoot me for it later, but what if we tried to repave and fix the roads and the ditches in Bowling, in the township of Bowling? I believe we could finish out about 6 miles of roadway at roughly $60,000 to $70,000 a mile. I mean, do them right. Don't just let them down, but do them right. And the county is participating in some improvements to their sewer system through city development block grants. But I know in my 10 years, we haven't done anything major in Bowling in at least 10 years. If you agree to this, I would recommend then at the next round of funds came that we would focus on the streets and the weeds. And I know Commissioner Getch has reworked a number of Louise roads. I drive through Louise and those roads are in good shape. I'm not slamming commissioners on here at all. I just think that the Bowling roads in the township really need help. If you would agree to this, I would recommend that Commissioner Zahn must come up with the requisite $43,000 match from within his own budget. I know in recent years, Precinct 1 has brought forward some unspent funding each year from some agreements made with Exelon and that. I'm hopeful that you can use those funds for the match. But regardless of how we move forward, we need to decide today if we need to hire an engineer, because that's something that GrantWorks is asking. So I threw out my dream. What would y'all like to do in y'all's money?
What is GrantWorks? What do they usually take out? 10%?
I do not know. I don't know if that's out of that 450 or if that's already on the side. It's, you know,
I make a motion to think about a higher one.
you have another project you want to do,
Oh,
because that's what they're going to engineer.
All due respect what you just said, I've got some roads that are heavily traveled by off-road trucks and just to have people that live on the road and stuff.
I understand.
I'm the same way. I've been waiting for this money to come. Hopefully it will come.
What are y'all's thoughts? What do you want to do?
Okay. I was here when Chris kind of snuck it away last time, so I guess it's my turn to give it back. It's my position.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how much that was we gave Chris. I forgot how much that was. I can't remember the number anymore.
So how do you want, what are y'all saying? What do you want to do?
Give half to Richard and 4th piece on them, I guess. I don't know.
Are y'all looking at, so what you're saying, you want to divide it up equally?
No, he's saying give your half. to
Give
me
my half to voting
This
project,
year.
do as much as you can if they have to have theirs. 'Cause I mean, it's just right. I sat back there and Chris took the money last time. Me and Leroy shared the road, so he took their money.
So so I'm going to lead you here. So are you making a motion to give a 50% share to Precinct 1 and a 25% share to each 3 and 4?
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have anything you want to say to that?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Matthews. So it's a motion made by Commissioner Graves, seconded by Commissioner Matthews. Before you vote, you better fix some streets of Bowling. Why don't you? Everybody good with this? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0.
Judge, can you please at least kind of give a motion for that? So, I mean, I'm hearing different parts, but can you give an actual motion? on
Yeah,
that?
Commissioner Graves, I believe what he said, he moved that we allocate 50% of the TIF funding to precinct 1 and 25% to each precincts 3 and 4. And I think I would have anticipated him saying that each precinct is responsible for their own 10% match.
Will they need to hire an engineer?
Well, they're gonna have to decide their projects.
Because we need to know pretty quick, because we're running out of time to,
When's the deadline to know?
well, they wanted it by April 27th. Because we have to.
We have a meeting on the 24th, right? 26th.
Well, they know, they just said. that.
Well, they'll figure it out. If we have to call a special meeting, we'll call a special meeting. I would think right now, though, I don't know what you guys want to do. You may need an engineer, Richard. I don't know if you do, but let Joyce know if you can by the end of the week. We may have to have a special meeting. Everybody's good? Okay, excellent. Okay, moving on then to agenda item number 6. Take all appropriate action for precinct 3 to pay 1/2 of the cost of a reclaimer purchased by precinct 4 with funds from capital replacement fund, road and bridge, precinct 3 machinery and equipment. Commissioner Gatch is seeking court approval to purchase 50% of a reclaimer that was recently purchased by precinct 4. It appears the 2 precincts are cost sharing the piece of equipment. The 50% cost of the item is $43,785. $43,785. This item's on today's agenda pursuant to county budget policy requiring court approval for the purchase of any non-budgeted capital items. Commissioner Getz, your item.
Yes, Commissioner Matthews and I agreed to share this piece of equipment and want to buy half of it. And this is a motion to purchase half of that from precinct 4 with machinery equipment 066.614.512.
And did I state it correctly? Your half is $43,785.
Yes, that's
Okay, I just want to make sure that was, okay. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Matthews. Commissioner Getch makes the motion. Matthews seconds. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Item 7, take all appropriate action regarding fuel bids for Wharton County Sheriff's Office. Commissioners, we discussed this. Are we going to act on this today? Can we move on this?
I think under the county attorney's request, we're gonna hold off for one more.
We're going to pass. I'm going to read it for the record, but not going in. I did read it. It's take all appropriate action regarding fuel bid for Wharton County Sheriff's Office. We're going to pass on it today. Agenda item number 8, take all appropriate action to purchase a 2020 Chevy Tahoe to District Attorney's Office for approximately $36,000 with funds from District Attorney Forfeiture Fund, Federal Justice Vehicles. Commissioner, our District Attorney Don Allison is seeking court approval to purchase this vehicle off the buy board site. Ms. Allison plans to assign the vehicle to one of her detectives. The approximate cost of the vehicle is stated as $36,000. Our district attorney will use federal forfeiture funds to make this needed purchase. This item is on today's agenda pursuant to county budget policy requiring court approval for the purchase of any non-budgeted capital items. Are there any motions or questions?
Motion to approve purchase of the 2020 Tahoe.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Getch. Graves makes the motion. Getch seconds it. Graves and Getch, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Item 9, take all appropriate action regarding chemical bid prices for 2020 with B&L Chemicals. Commissioners, B&L Chemical was awarded the county's 2020 contract for supplying a number of chemicals as they were the lowest bidder. As a result of the country's current condition as related to COVID-19, B&L Chemicals has notified several of the commissioners here that they can no longer provide the chemicals at the awarded price. B&L has stated that transportation costs have increased dramatically as well as actual product price. No other alternate bids were awarded for 2020, just primary bids. Today, you, the commissioners, are asking court approval to be allowed to utilize spot purchasing for Arsenal, Rodeo, Roundup concentrate, glyphosate, 2,4-D, Surmount, 80% non-tonic surfactant, drift control, habitat, poncho, remedy, escort, capstone, plateau, prospective method, and any other product Ward County has previously awarded B&L chemical bids for the year 2020 operating year. As B&L Chemicals can no longer provide the awarded quantities at the awarded bid price. So the action is you're seeking to be able to do spot bids for these. Would anyone have anything they want to add to that? Trey, do you have any concerns with anything? Is there a motion?
Is that, spot? Yes. We need to
Go around and get. Go to the next one is bidder.
You would basically, it may not be a good price anymore. I mean, this was done back in October, November of 19. So what Logan with B&L Chemicals was saying is the transportation cost is really going outrageous because of all the COVID-19 stuff. And so you may be finding some higher prices from the other vendors as well. Basically, what we're saying is you have the right to spot purchase from another vendor, even though B&L was the primary, okay? So you need to call around and try to see the best price that you can get for the certain ones you're looking for, if they were the primary.
We can call around and choose that lowest bid.
Yes, that's the spot purchase, correct.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Graves, seconded by Commissioner Matthews. Graves and Matthews. Again, this authorizes the county to utilize spot purchasing for the items I mentioned and any other product Ward County has previously awarded B&L Chemicals for 2020. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Item 10, take all appropriate action to approve a final plat for Cox subdivision. Commissioner Graves is seeking approval of this final plat. The subdivision is located off of County Road 268. The landowner is seeking to subdivide out 4 lots from a larger 11.15 acre tract. It's 11.15. The lot sizes will be lot 1, 6.15 acres, lot 2, 1.67 acres, lot 3, 1.66 acres, and lot 4, 1.67 acres. Monica Martin from Permits and our county attorney reviewed the requisite documents. Commissioner Graves has confirmed that the county has received the final plat, certified tax receipt, and requisite title policy. Is that correct, Joyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves, this is your item.
That's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zahn. It's Graves making the motion, Zahn second. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Item 11, take all appropriate action to approve the final plat for Orsac subdivision. Commissioner Zahn is seeking approval of this final plat located off of County Road 155. The landowner has a 12.92 acre tract that is seeking to divide into 4 smaller lots. Lot 1 is 3 acres, 2 is 3.62 acres, 3 is 3 acres, and lot 4 is 3.30 acres. Monica Martin from Permits and our county attorney have reviewed the requisite documents. Commissioner Zahn has confirmed that the county has received the final plat, certified tax receipt, and requisite title policy. Joyce, has he confirmed that? Commissioner Zahn, it's your item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Graves. Zahn and Graves, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Item 12, take all appropriate action to approve a preliminary plat for Carrascosa subdivision. Commissioner Matthews is seeking approval of this preliminary plot. It's located off of County Road 408 and State Highway 71. The owner is subdividing out a 1.5 acre lot from a larger 24.94 acre tract of land. Our county attorney, Monica Martin, pardon me, from Permits have reviewed the preliminary plat. Commissioner Matthews, it's your item.
That's the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Matthews makes the motion. Graves seconds. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Item 13, take all appropriate action to approve damage release and receipt from M2E3. Again, it's M2E3 LLC for damages to County Road 239 bridge crossing Middle Bernard Creek, which occurred on or about March the 10th, 2020. Commissioner Graves has a bridge on County Road 239 that was was recently damaged by M2V3 trucks that were putting in a crude line through that area. Commissioner Graves has been working with M2V3 representatives to get them to help fund the bridge repair. Today, Commissioner Graves has worked out an agreement and is seeking court approval of a damage release agreement and receipt of funds to cover repair costs. The estimated price of the pipe to repair the bridge is approximately $2,700. Our county attorney has reviewed this release and receipt agreement. Commissioner Graves, this is your item.
That's it.
Sir, on the agenda item, it says County Road 239, but the backup shows County Road 279.
279.
Okay,
Which
so
one
it
is
should
it?
be-
279.
279. Thank you for 279. County Road 279. Is that your motion, sir?
That is my motion.
Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Zahn. Graves and Zahn. Again, County Road 279.
And the receipt is for how much?
279.
All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Thank y'all for catching my public. Item 14, take all appropriate action to approve the purchase of a 3,000-gallon vertical tank from Wiley Sprayers for approximately $2,200 with funds from Capital Replacement Fund, Road and Bridge Precinct 4, machinery equipment. Commissioner Matthews is seeking court approval to purchase the storage tank. The approximate cost of the tank is $2,172.43, and the approximate cost is 2172.43. Commissioner Matthews will utilize capital replacement funds for the purchase. This item is on today's agenda pursuant to county budget policy requiring court approval for the purchase of any non-budgeted capital items. Commissioner Matthews, is your item.
Yes, Judge, it was, 3,000 gallon tank of water for a road building project.
That's your motion.
That is my motion.
One more item, on the agenda, it shows 515, that's not a department number, it should be 615, yes.
So for the record, it's zeros, the count number is 066.615.512.
Correct.
Thank you. And as Commissioner Matthews stated, it's to hold water for road building. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Getch. That was you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Matthews and Getch, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. At this time, I'll go back, because I've done it the last few times, and open it up. Would anyone, public comments, would anyone like to address the court on a non-agenda item before we go into the consent agenda? Non-agenda. Would you like to address the court on any item? Nothing being stated. Let's go to the consent agenda. It's items 15 through 25. Commissioners, would any of you like to pull one of the consent items 15 through 25 so that we can deliberate on it separately?
Like, well, item 17.
Item 17, very good. Any other items? Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items 15 through 25 with the exception of item 17? Moved by Commissioner Graves. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Getch. Graves and Getch. This is items 15 through 25 with the exception of 17. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. Moving to item 17, submit audit letters for all precincts road inventory. This is a non-action item. Commissioners, we're just receiving the copies of letters that were in your packet. What do you have, sir?
So we just want to go over the numbers,
Okay.
road changes, so we have it on record, I guess. Start with precinct one. Is that how you want to do it, Barbara?
Yes, that would be great if you can do that, because we're gonna be changing our numbers on the CAFR according to what we're changing, and that's why we just wanted to kind of verify separately that you would agree with the numbers, even though you already signed off on them. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, you go ahead.
Okay, so, on precinct 1, the difference that we're gonna change on the gravel roads was not much. We had 49.18 miles, you have 47.06, so we're 0.69, so we're correcting to your number.
Has that already been reflected in here?
It's all written out. If we wanted to say everybody approves basically on what's in here, then that's all we really need to do.
Whatever you need for your cash.
Right, I just wanted to kind of make sure that everybody is aware that we are changing the numbers, and they're very slight, honestly, between all 4 precincts, so.
Have y'all got a chance to look at your numbers?
Yes.
Does anyone have a concern with the auditor's, I guess, suggestions? Or- Okay. Craig, normally we do not, we haven't done an action on this. Do we need an action to, these reports are just submitted?
You probably.
So everybody is good with, so no one's speaking? Okay, so speak now for everybody, please. Everybody's good? Okay, very good. Okay, again, this is a non-action item. Okay, let's move then to item 26, permits. Precinct 1, 2, 3,
None.
4. Joyce, have you missed any? Very good. 27, item 27, pay claims. Commissioners, a list of claims was placed in your packets for your review. At this time, I'll ask the county treasurer to read the amount of the registered minutes.
Yes, it's $399,386.59. That's 399,386.59.
Thank you. If there are no questions or concerns, we need a motion to pay the claims as presented. Okay. Commissioner Zahn makes the motion, seconded by Commissioner Graves. Zahn and Graves, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. We have a lot of things to sign. I would urge one of you to go sign the plats right now by yourself. Whoever will do that. Richard, will you sign those 3 from the trustees and Kenny goes back?
Please bring to your attention now, number 5, we do not do a vote. We don't have a vote for a group.
Okay.
Because I interrupted.
5-0, vote. Graves making the motion.
I didn't have anything. I checked for Dawn and she didn't have anything.
Yeah, I have Graves making the motion, Matthew seconding.
So you have 5-0 vote on
Yeah.
yours, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, we go back to the view.
Yeah, I missed it and Dawn, and I was, Barbara questioned me and then I questioned Dawn and she said no, that she didn't think it was right. So I don't know, if any of the other commissioners remember voting?
I don't mind going back.
I think we did.
You did vote? Okay, okay. It's just everybody, if all the commissioners agree they voted, then I'm good with that.
I think you clarified, both did to.
Okay. Now, what's in the tank?
It's cold.
We don't want to break the code. I watch what you do, man.
I don't know if it's that or if it's just the way it's.
Go ahead.
We started this.
Man, I hope I got that. Shame on you guys.
On this one,
But then these, I need the inspection. Oh, Steve Welch, Stephen Stitch.
Oh, yeah.
Cold?
Weird. Yeah.
You did? Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir, thank you.
When somebody thinks they have it, they're would there be some pre-quarantine or? No, that's a good thing. I don't think that's.
What's that?
If somebody thinks, Shouldn't they self-quarantine until they find out?
The medical facility will tell them whether they need to.
They tell me to stay 10 feet away.
I think they look through who we came in contact
I
with.
don't know if I did or not. I went to.
Bottom one, back. Bottom eight.
No.
It's hard to change it.
Yeah.
And then you won't get your payroll check. But it's hard
I
to change
didn't-
what's happening.
Oh, everybody thinks it's amazing.
Well. I always learn to connect organize.
This is here rubbing my face all right here.
They have medical.
They're so they're sick of it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. That's all. Pull away. Quarantine, self-quarantine. So
They thought they were gonna tell me yesterday. I forget they tell me this morning.
how long is it?
I did Friday. Okay. It's, huh?
Yeah, the lady said, don't roll your eyes. Sorry. My mouth started itching.
I think it's heard the word and you're going. You know,
It's fine.
Oh, yeah. She was walking around past her.
Yeah. I called her. You need anything, bring that. Bring stuff to you, but I know it's on the patio. Yeah.
She said, this is just right up my alley. Yeah.
We can do without one item. But actually,
We have, started.
Oh, it's. Well, I read it all.
However, certain days where I had. Yeah. Well, it's about like everything down. Yeah. So. Aloe vera is one thing, glycerin is one thing, but I can't find aloe vera. This is always. But we run out of space.
Sorry to go, Lightning Trail here. They started to get out. They can make it. There's some fun out.
They're found.
You're not saying-
Yeah.
Oh, you know. You're right, no. I don't know, but I did. Oh. You're right.
Last one, I started that.
Yeah, I'll probably have that. Whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was it was the last one they had. $18? It might be more now, actually.
Okay.
Well, I know where you're going.
No, I don't think it's.
Okay, we're gonna go back to item 5, just for the sake of argument, item 5, which was take all appropriate action regarding Wharton County's allocation of TxDOT TIP grant money, and make sure that we covered the vote for the record. I think we did, but let's just be careful and make sure. Commissioner Graves, as I recall, to be sure, Commissioner Graves made a motion that 50% of the awarded TIP grant money would go to precinct 1, and then 25% each would go to precincts 3 and 4, and that each precinct would be responsible for their 10% match toward the grant funding. Was that your motion, Commissioner Graves?
That was.
And then there was a second by Commissioner Matthews, is that correct? And so let's vote again, just to make sure all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, and that goes 5-0. Then we want to go to item 13, which is take all appropriate action to approve damage release and receipt from M2E3 LLC for damages to County Road 279 Bridge crossing Middle Bernard Creek, which occurred on about March the 10th. And watching us today on the webcam is Mr. Andrew Thomas, and he has made a comment that we want to acknowledge. He said, "My name is Andrew Thomas. I am representing M2E3 LLC. I just wanted to thank the court and especially Commissioner Graves for their consideration and approval of our damage release. I will continue to work with Ms. Farrell to forward payments to the county. Thank you." And so that was someone who was watching online, and Darlene notified me that they commented, so we covered that. Gentlemen, as we leave, do we have anything else to discuss? Stay safe. I need a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Zahn, is there a second? Second, Commissioners Getch, Zahn, and Getch, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, that carries 5-0. The time is 10:48 a.m. 10:48 a.m. Thank you all.